Imagine this. Beneath the surface of the world we walk on every day, under our cities, oceans, and forests, lie fragments of a forgotten story. A story not taught in schools. A story whispered by the stones, echoed in myths, and buried in time. A story that, once unearthed, has the power to change everything you think you know about who we are, where we came from, and what forces still shape our existence today. Welcome to Whispers of Mystery. In this powerful, mind-opening journey, we embark on a quest across time and space to reveal the buried mysteries of the world's origins. These are not fantasies. These are real anomalies, suppressed truths, and forbidden discoveries that challenge the very foundations of modern history, religion, and science. You'll hear about ancient cities that predate all known civilizations, sacred texts removed from holy scriptures, unexplained artifacts discovered in places they shouldn't exist, and advanced knowledge encoded in myths and monuments. But more importantly, you'll begin to see that the mystery isn't just out there, it's inside you. If this resonates with something deep within you, you're in the right place. This is just the beginning. Don't forget to subscribe to Whispers of Mystery and like this video to help awaken others who, like you, feel the pull of the unknown. The narrative begins not with Sumer or Egypt, but in a fog that lingers before written history, an era spoken of only in whispers, in myths, in sacred hymns that have survived thousands of years through oral tradition. Modern historians place the dawn of civilization around 5,000 years ago, but evidence across the globe suggests a much older tale, one of great cultures that rose and fell long before the pages of our textbooks begin. Let's go back, far back, to a time long before the flood myths, a time before Egypt, before Mesopotamia, before anything that modern academia is willing to acknowledge as history. In Turkey, atop a dusty hill now called Göbekli Tepe, lies a monument that shattered every preconceived notion about human development. Massive stone pillars, weighing up to 20 tons, arranged in circular enclosures, carved with high-relief animals, abstract symbols, and what appear to be astronomical references. Mainstream science admits this site is at least 11,600 years old, nearly twice the age of the pyramids, and it wasn't discovered accidentally. It was buried, on purpose. But why? Who built it? For what purpose? And why go to the trouble of carefully covering it up? It is not alone. In the jungles of Guatemala and Honduras, in the deserts of Peru, in the depths of the ocean near Yonaguni, Japan, we find ruins that defy explanation. Their construction methods, astronomical alignments, and mythological echoes suggest not a chaotic tribal past, but a lost world of order, science, and sacred knowledge. These are not mere legends. They are architectural facts inscribed in stone. So how did we forget them? We didn't. We were made to. When we think of ancient cities, we imagine desert sands and jungle overgrowth. But the greatest evidence of a forgotten age may lie beneath the ocean waves. In 2001, off the coast of Gujarat, India, sonar scans revealed massive geometric structures submerged beneath 120 feet of water in the Gulf of Kambat. Divers found evidence of foundations, steps, and walls, including artifacts carbon dated to over 9,500 years old. The discovery stunned scientists. If true, this city predates all known human civilization and matches descriptions from Hindu epics of lost cities swallowed by the sea. Farther east, off the coast of Yonaguni, Japan, lies a site that resembles a stepped pyramid, complete with platforms, terraces, and staircase-like features carved into solid bedrock. Some argue it's a natural formation, but the sharp right angles, consistent measurements, and tool-like marks suggest otherwise. And what of Atlantis, the legendary island nation described by Plato, said to have vanished beneath the sea in a single day and night of misfortune? While many treat it as myth, some researchers believe it could be a distorted memory of a real advanced civilization lost during a global cataclysm. These sunken cities are not alone. From Cuba to the Caribbean, from the coasts of Egypt to the Azores, sonar and satellite imagery reveal formations that hint at entire drowned continents. What if Earth's most important archaeological discoveries haven't yet been made because they are hidden underwater? We are taught that ancient humans were simple, tribal, and lacked complex tools. But the evidence contradicts that view. Consider the Antikythera mechanism, discovered in 1901 off the coast of Greece. This 2,000-year-old device is often called the world's first analog computer. It could predict solar eclipses, chart the positions of the stars, and follow complex lunar cycles. Made of bronze gears with intricate precision, it required knowledge thought impossible for its time. In Egypt, at the Temple of Dendera, a carving shows what appears to be a large bulb connected to electrical cables, eerily similar to modern technology. The Baghdad battery, a 2,000-year-old clay jar found in Iraq, shows signs of functioning as a simple galvanic cell, a battery. Then there are the megalithic stones of Baalbek, Lebanon, some weighing over 1,000 tons, fitted with such precision that no mortar is used. To this day, no crane on Earth could move these stones in one piece. So how did they do it? Legends from around the world speak of ancient knowledge lost after a great flood or war of the gods. These stories may hold more truth than fiction. Were the ancients far more advanced than we've been led to believe? And if so, where did that knowledge go? A pattern begins to emerge, great civilizations rising to incredible heights, then vanishing almost overnight. Across mythologies, from the Bible to the Popol Vuh to the Epic of Gilgamesh, we find strikingly similar stories: a great flood, divine punishment, and the scattering of survivors. These may not be mere fables. Geological records confirm that massive global catastrophes did occur, including the sudden end of the Younger Dryas period around 11,600 years ago. Comet impact theory, supported by evidence of nanodiamonds and black mats found across North America, suggests a violent cosmic event that triggered global wildfires and massive flooding. This timing coincides with the construction and burial of Göbekli Tepe. It also matches Plato's date for the fall of Atlantis. If these events wiped out entire civilizations, they would have erased history itself. The survivors would be left with stories, memories, and myths, the raw material of our world religions and legends. We are the descendants of those who lived through it, and perhaps of those who remembered what they were told to forget. What we have uncovered so far is just the beginning. The buried mysteries of the world's origins are not only found in ancient stones, drowned cities, or forgotten texts. They are found in our DNA, our dreams, and our yearning to understand who we truly are. To question official history is not to fall into fantasy. It is to reclaim your right to wonder. We must ask ourselves, who controls the narrative of human history? Why are some discoveries silenced while others are celebrated? And what do we stand to gain by remembering what was lost? The truth is, we are the inheritors of a legacy far greater than we've been told. Whispers of Mystery invites you to explore these questions, to dig beneath the surface, and to walk boldly into the shadows of the forgotten past. Subscribe to Whispers of Mystery and don't miss the Forbidden Scriptures and the War on Knowledge, because the world didn't begin where they say it did, and its secrets are calling you to remember. Throughout history, knowledge has been power, and power has always feared what it cannot control. From the ashes of the Library of Alexandria to the secret archives of the Vatican, the written word has often been the battlefield where truth is buried, rewritten, or destroyed. Consider the vast number of sacred texts that never made it into what we call the Bible. The Gnostic Gospels, found in 1945 near Nag Hammadi, Egypt, include the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, and even the Gospel of Judas. These texts paint a radically different picture of Jesus, not as a distant divine figure, but as a teacher of inner awakening and hidden knowledge. Their message? That divinity is within us. Why were they banned? Because they threatened the power structure. If everyone had direct access to the divine, there would be no need for intermediaries, no need for religious institutions to gatekeep salvation. So these books were labeled heretical, buried, burned, or rewritten. In other parts of the world, entire philosophical systems were eradicated. The Mayan codices were systematically destroyed by Spanish priests. Ancient African manuscripts filled with science, cosmology, and history were seized or hidden away. Even today, texts like the Book of Enoch remain officially excluded from most religious canons, despite their clear connections to biblical stories of angels, watchers, and celestial secrets. History has not only been written by the victors, it has been edited by them. Religion has always held a dual purpose, to awaken and to control. In its purest form, religion offers a path to transcendence, a way to connect with something greater than oneself. But when institutions took root, something changed. That divine connection was filtered through rituals, dogma, and authority figures. And with it came a terrifying power, the ability to shape reality through belief. Many of the world's ancient religions share common symbols, deities, and cosmologies. From Zoroastrianism to early Hinduism, from Egyptian creation myths to Norse legends, we find recurring themes. A primordial chaos, a divine spark, the battle between light and darkness, the journey of the soul. These aren't coincidences. They point to a shared ancestral memory, one that transcends geography and doctrine. But as new empires rose, old knowledge was either assimilated or crushed. In Rome, early Christianity absorbed pagan festivals, renamed deities, and outlawed competing spiritual systems. The Inquisition persecuted mystics and esoteric thinkers. Islam's early openness to science and philosophy was later replaced by rigid orthodoxy. Religion became a tool not for awakening, but for silencing. Yet the esoteric traditions never disappeared. They simply went underground. The Kabbalists, the Sufis, the Gnostics, the Hermeticists, each preserved fragments of a deeper truth, that divinity is not an external judge, but an inner light, and that to find it, we must look beyond the surface of doctrine. Hidden beneath layers of metaphor and ritual, mystery schools once offered the highest forms of spiritual initiation. From the Egyptian temples of Isis to the Eleusinian mysteries of Greece, these institutions trained minds to perceive the unseen world. In these sacred spaces, initiates weren't taught to worship blindly. They were trained to remember, to awaken dormant faculties of consciousness. They studied sacred geometry, vibrational sound, cosmic cycles, and the nature of the soul. Pythagoras was not just a mathematician, but an initiate of Egyptian and Babylonian mystery schools. Plato hinted at higher realms of existence and reincarnation. Even Jesus, according to some interpretations, spent time among the Essenes, a sect deeply involved in mystical training. But with time, these teachings were either absorbed and sanitized by dominant religions or demonized as a cult. In the medieval period, those who held such knowledge were branded heretics or witches. The flame of inner knowledge dimmed, though it never truly went out. Freemasons, Rosicrucians, alchemists, and sages kept the lineage alive, often at great personal risk. Their symbols remain all around us, in architecture, in art, in language, waiting to be decoded. If these teachings held the key to enlightenment, why were they suppressed? Because they grant sovereignty over the self. They free the individual from manipulation. And that terrifies the systems built on control. The knowledge found in forbidden scriptures and mystery schools threatens more than religion. It threatens politics, economics, and ideology. Imagine a world where people knew they were powerful creators, where borders and titles became illusions, where the divine could not be bought or mediated. The suppression wasn't just about theology, it was about maintaining order. When Constantine legalized Christianity, it was less about faith and more about empire. When King James commissioned a new Bible, it wasn't to reflect divine will, it was to unify political factions. When institutions removed texts like the Gospel of Mary, it wasn't about heresy, it was about erasing feminine power and wisdom. These aren't conspiracies, they're patterns, clear and well documented. The war on knowledge is a war on freedom, and we, in the modern age, are its survivors. The buried scriptures and mystery teachings are not just ancient curiosities, they are maps, guides back to the self. As the veil begins to lift, we find ourselves at a crossroads. The digital age has brought unprecedented access to lost texts, new discoveries, and ancient wisdom once locked away. More and more people are waking up, not just to corruption in the outer world, but to a calling from within. You don't need a priest to speak to the divine. You don't need permission to seek truth. The temple is within you. The kingdom is within you. The path is within you. At Whispers of Mystery, our journey continues, not into fantasy, but into the deeper strata of our forgotten history and hidden potential. The truth was never lost. It was only buried. And now, you are the one uncovering it. From the dawn of time, ancient civilizations looked to the skies not only for guidance, but for origin stories, sacred cycles, and cosmic truths. Across the globe, megalithic monuments, temples, and cities were built with astonishing astronomical precision. Why? The Great Pyramid of Giza aligns almost perfectly with true north. Stonehenge marks solstices and eclipses with striking accuracy. The Mayan pyramids track Venus cycles, and the massive lines of Nazca in Peru, visible only from the air, depict animals, spirals, and geometries that mirror star constellations. Göbekli Tepe, the world's oldest known temple, also shows alignments with the star Sirius and the galactic center. These weren't accidents. Ancient builders encoded the heavens into the earth. To them, the sky was a map of the soul. The stars were not just lights, but living intelligences, and time was not linear. It was cyclical, mirroring cosmic rhythms. These ancient sites functioned as more than observatories. They were portals, bridges between the terrestrial and the celestial. They aligned human consciousness with the universe. But what were they trying to communicate? And where did they learn it? Many ancient texts and oral traditions speak of beings who descended from the stars, bringers of light, knowledge, and civilization. The Sumerians called them the Anunnaki. The Dogon people of Mali speak of the Namo, amphibious beings from Sirius. In Mesoamerican myths, the feathered serpent Quetzalcoatl came from the heavens bearing wisdom. Egyptian lore describes Thoth, the ibis-headed god, who gave writing and mathematics to mankind. Were these simply mythological archetypes? Or do they hint at something more literal, extraterrestrial contact or interdimensional influence? The Book of Enoch, once revered and later banned, details the descent of the Watchers, celestial beings who took human wives and taught forbidden sciences, metallurgy, astronomy, cosmetics, sorcery. Their union sparked chaos and the eventual flood. These beings were punished, but their legacy remained, buried in texts, echoed in temples, encoded in bloodlines. Could it be that humanity was seeded, or at least accelerated, by advanced intelligences? And that ancient cultures preserved this truth in symbolism, architecture, and oral tradition? We must ask, what if we are not alone, not just in the universe, but in our origin? If ancient monuments were aligned to stars, what was their function beyond observation? Increasing evidence suggests that many sacred sites functioned as energy amplifiers, resonance chambers, and even gateways. Electromagnetic readings around sites like the Great Pyramid, Machu Picchu, and the Serapeum of Saqqara show unusual properties: localized magnetic anomalies, infrasound hums, and piezoelectric effects caused by stone under pressure. It is believed these energies were harnessed for healing, transformation, and spiritual travel. The concept of stargates, wormholes, or interdimensional portals was not science fiction to the ancients. They spoke of Duat, Egypt, Xibalba, Maya, or Tir na Nog, Celtic, realms beyond this one, accessed not just physically, but through consciousness. The pineal gland, often symbolized by the Eye of Horus or the third eye, was viewed as the gateway to these inner realms. Temples were acoustically and geometrically tuned to activate altered states, possibly opening psychic or vibratory connections to the cosmos. Are these metaphors for the inner journey, or literal gateways once understood and utilized? Recent research suggests that many ancient monuments lie along specific global lines known as ley lines, or the Earth's energy grid. These alignments span thousands of miles and link sacred sites like Easter Island, the Giza Plateau, Angkor Wat, and the Nazca Lines. Some theorists call it the world grid, a planetary circuit connecting power points of energetic intensity. Why did civilizations with no known contact build along these same lines? Did they tap into a global consciousness, or were they guided by a shared lost science? Additionally, the sky itself was used as a code. Ancient zodiacs, such as the Dendera zodiac in Egypt, mapped not just seasonal changes but galactic positions. The precession of the equinoxes, a 26,000-year cycle, was deeply understood and embedded in myths of floods, golden ages, and cosmic rebirth. These aren't random myths, they are clocks, cosmic ones. The ancients saw Earth as part of a much larger system, alive, intelligent, and deeply interconnected with the stars. They encoded this truth in stone, knowing it would outlast their civilizations. Why does this matter now? Because we're awakening. As global systems falter and mainstream narratives crumble, more people are feeling an inner pull, a longing to remember something lost. These ancient stargates, myths, and maps are not just curiosities, they are invitations. We are not disconnected beings on a dead rock in space. We are cosmic participants. The ancients tried to teach us this, not with fear, but with awe, that we come from the stars, and to the stars we shall return. At Whispers of Mystery, we do not claim to have all the answers, but we believe the questions are sacred, and the journey, the remembering, is the point. Subscribe to our channel and prepare for The Matrix of Control, How Reality is Engineered. Because the more we know about where we came from, the more empowered we are to shape where we're going. And somewhere, deep in the silence of the stars, the ancestors are watching and waiting. Stay curious, stay sovereign, stay connected. Whispers of Mystery. What if reality as we know it is not entirely real? What if the systems that govern our lives, our education, our media, our governments, are not neutral structures but sophisticated frameworks designed to shape our beliefs, limit our perception, and suppress our true potential? This is the matrix of control. And unlike the science fiction metaphor, it doesn't rely on machines or simulated worlds. It operates through language, ideology, and the manipulation of attention. From birth, we are conditioned to accept certain truths. What is possible, what is valuable, what is real. We're taught to seek validation through external systems, to equate self-worth with productivity, and to obey authority without question. Behind this conditioning lies an invisible architecture, crafted through mass media, institutional education, and engineered culture. This system isn't sustained by brute force. It's maintained through consent, through the normalization of limitation. But cracks are appearing. People are beginning to see the script. They're questioning the roles they were told to play. And they're awakening to the deeper truth, that reality is far more malleable and far more mysterious than we've been led to believe. Control begins with perception. If you can manipulate what people see, hear, and think, you don't need chains. Media plays a central role in this. By selecting which events to highlight, which voices to amplify, and which narratives to repeat, it creates a curated version of reality. It doesn't just inform, it programs. And when millions of people consume the same version of reality day after day, they begin to mistake it for truth. Education reinforces this by prioritizing memorization over inquiry, obedience over imagination. From a young age, children are trained to repeat rather than question, to absorb rather than investigate. Critical thinking is replaced with standardized testing. Curiosity is replaced with conformity. Meanwhile, entertainment culture numbs and distracts. Social media becomes a dopamine-driven echo chamber. The result is a population that is simultaneously overstimulated and spiritually starved. But perception can be reclaimed. The moment you begin to question, you begin to awaken. The veil lifts. History, too, is engineered. The official story of humanity is a linear progression from ignorance to enlightenment, from savagery to civilization. But what if that story has been curated to serve power? We've already seen how ancient knowledge has been buried, how forbidden scriptures were erased, and how sacred science was demonized. Now we must consider that modern history, too, has been selectively edited. Many of the greatest thinkers, inventors, and mystics were ridiculed, discredited, or silenced, not because they were wrong, but because they were disruptive. Free energy pioneers, consciousness researchers, and alternative historians are often marginalized by mainstream academia and media. Why? Because truth is dangerous. It threatens monopolies, not just of money, but of meaning. The matrix of control doesn't want you to remember who you are. It wants you to consume, obey, and forget. But memory is rebellion, and remembering the hidden layers of history is the first step toward reclaiming your sovereignty. Psychologists, advertisers, and intelligence agencies have long studied how to influence human thought. Edward Bernays, the father of modern propaganda, openly wrote about manipulating public opinion as a necessary function of democracy. His techniques laid the foundation for marketing, media, and political strategy in the 20th century. The matrix is not just cultural, it's psychological. It works through trauma, repetition, and fear, false flags, manufactured crises, divide and conquer tactics. These are not new tools. They've been used throughout history to consolidate power and distract from deeper truths. The goal isn't simply control, it's the illusion of choice. You're not told what to think, you're given two options, both controlled by the same hand. But as awareness grows, the control system must adapt. It becomes more sophisticated, more digital, more algorithmic. Yet its weakness remains. It relies on your belief in it. Withdraw that belief, and the system begins to crumble. To escape the matrix is not to flee from the world, it is to see through it. It means recognizing that what we call normal is often the product of conditioning, that our thoughts may not be our own, that our desires may be programmed, and that our potential has been hidden behind fear, distraction, and limitation. Awakening begins with awareness. It deepens with courage. It matures with responsibility. You are not a cog in a machine. You are a creator in a living, breathing universe. The ancients left us clues. The scriptures whispered forbidden truths. The monuments pointed to the stars. Now it is up to us to put the pieces together. At Whispers of Mystery, we believe this is the greatest mystery of all: how to break free from the illusions that bind us and step fully into the truth of who we are. Subscribe to follow us into the soul's journey through time, reincarnation, karma, and the spiral of awakening. Because the world you see is only a shadow of what it could be once your eyes are truly open. Stay conscious, stay free, stay brave. Whispers of Mystery. What happens when we die? This question has echoed across cultures and civilizations for millennia. And while mainstream science treats consciousness as a byproduct of the brain, countless spiritual traditions and a growing body of near-death experiences suggest otherwise, that life continues, that we return. Reincarnation is not a fringe belief. The ancient Egyptians, Hindus, Buddhists, and even early Gnostic Christians all spoke of the soul's return. The Druids taught it. The Greeks philosophized it. Indigenous cultures across the Americas, Africa, and Asia knew it. Life, they believed, was not a linear story, but a spiral, a journey of the soul through time, space, and experience. With each life, we carry lessons from the last. With each death, we shed illusions and recalibrate our essence. This spiral is not punishment, it is evolution. Our souls are not trapped, they are learning, but somewhere along the way this knowledge was buried. The cycle was hidden, and many were made to believe they had only one chance, one life, to get it right. This, too, was part of the matrix of control. Karma is often misunderstood. It is not a cosmic punishment or reward system, it is energy in motion. Every thought, word, and action creates a ripple. What you send out returns, not because of judgment, but because of resonance. Imagine life as a symphony. Your soul plays a note with every decision. Karma is the echo, harmonizing or dissonant, depending on the frequency you chose. The universe does not punish, it reflects. In this sense, karma becomes a map. It shows us where we're asleep, where we're repeating, where we're evolving. The people who trigger us, the events that break us, the situations that repeat, these are not accidents. They are echoes of previous choices, calls for deeper awareness. When we stop seeing life as random, we begin to see the architecture of our own transformation. Before incarnating, many traditions teach the soul chooses the broad strokes of its journey, its lessons, its challenges, even its relationships. This is the concept of the soul contract. This doesn't mean life is scripted, free will remains, but our higher self designs a curriculum. We are here to learn trust, courage, forgiveness, compassion, and the situations we face, no matter how painful, are the classrooms. This perspective radically shifts how we view suffering. It invites us to see enemies as teachers, trauma as initiation, and failure as refinement. It does not justify injustice, but it empowers us to seek meaning within it. The Matrix tells us we are victims of fate. The truth is, we are co-authors of our destiny. Spiritual awakening is not a sudden light switch, it's a spiral. We revisit themes, face deeper versions of old wounds, and expand our awareness in layers. This spiral mirrors the journey of reincarnation itself. In one life, we may learn about power, in another about humility. In one we may wound, in another we may heal. Each lifetime refines the soul, expands its capacity for light, and deepens its understanding of oneness. This is why ancient initiates emphasized inner work, meditation, self-inquiry, contemplation. They knew that awakening isn't about escaping the world, it's about transforming within it. The more we align with truth, the more we magnetize synchronicity. The more we heal, the more we uplift others. The spiral lifts us not just individually, but collectively. What is the goal of all this? To remember, not just who you are now, but who you've always been. As we awaken, we begin to sense a deeper self, one untouched by time, unshaken by circumstance, and unbound by belief. We glimpse past lives through dreams, intuition, or déjà vu. We feel drawn to people and places without explanation. These are not fantasies. They are fragments, whispers from the soul. The ultimate liberation is not ascension to some far-off realm. It is integration, the reunion of all ourselves into one luminous awareness. When we remember, we return. When we return, we are whole. At Whispers of Mystery, this is the journey we invite you to take. Not to escape the matrix, but to illuminate it from within. Not to deny the past, but to redeem it. Subscribe on Whispers of Mystery. Stay eternal. Stay evolving. Stay awake.